I'm doing fine. This week has been very long for some reason. Yesterday felt like it was Thursday, so today feels like it's Friday.
It really feels like Friday.
Yeah.
I guess we shouldn't talk about the day because we don't publish until Monday.
Right.
But it's Thursday right now, and it feels like Friday.
Yeah. But moral of the story is it has been a long week prepping for Q4. It's very time consuming, and there's a lot of things going on. But other than that, week has been okay in my personal life. So
yeah, I'm hoping I get
good.
fired soon.
Yeah.
That's my only hope. That's a joke, sort of.
Yeah.
Sort of. Yeah, my week's been pretty long too. Trying to think if there's anything specific. Stream's been going well. I saw you had a popping off stream last night. I stopped by.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of League of Legends this week.
Yeah, I saw that.
Because the season is about to end. So League has like year-long seasons of play that ends as the World Championship ends. Which is interesting because for the first time in a long time, there's actually a U.S. team in the Final Four. So I think it's like 2 Chinese teams, 2 Asian teams, a U.S. team, and a European team. And normally it's like all Asia. So a Western team will be in the finals this year, which is a big deal.
Damn.
Yeah, I know. But the seasons end, in November when the league season ends. And you got to like get to certain ranks to like get rewards for the year, right? Like it's the only chance to get them.
It's just a big pool. Like you have the game, you can theoretically compete, right?
Yeah.
There's no like entrance fee, or you
No,
got to be
no.
a part of a whatever the hell
No, you
association.
just play ranked games and do
Yeah.
the best you can. So I've been playing a lot, trying to kind of get that last minute rank surge in, which sucks. That game is so frustrating to play. It's terrible.
How is it still going after all this time?
How
old is it?
Oh, it's old.
Really old, right?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say it's really old, and it's gotten quite a few updates, but
Is it World of Warcraft old?
no, but probably about that old. It's probably a few years newer than that, but right, because League of Legends was based off a Warcraft 3 mod. Warcraft 3 came out before World of Warcraft. I could look up the year, but then I wouldn't.
2009.
2009 League came out.
Yeah,
Yeah, World of Warcraft's like 2004 or something crazy.
that's crazy.
But it's free to play. It's easy to get people involved. A lot of people have put a lot of time into their account, so it's easy to kind of keep them kind of in, playing the game.
Yeah, the free to play thing probably does a lot for it.
That's a lot for every game. I'm amazed more games aren't free to play when you look at how positively games like Fortnite can monetize. And League of Legends is another one.
Right, which we've talked about that before. But yeah, if you're on the fence about buying a game or not, if it's free, you just buy it and try it.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that the average customer value in games like that, like we talked about with Fortnite, it's well over $60.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like just let them have it. They'll pay. You know, like if it's a good game, they'll pay.
Right.
Right. So I've been playing a lot of League, and just been busy at work. I mean, that's kind of it. Grinding back and forth. I got a trivia party this weekend. It's supposed to be pretty fun. Every year I go to this party, and these people go all out. It's these rich, like, Orange County people. They have this beautiful house. And they throw this, like, trivia night party.
Do they put all their keys in a basket at the front door?
No, but I'm kind of okay with that. They're not a group of lookers,
Are they wearing masks and capes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. But no, you don't dress up for Halloween, but it's literally they make, like, a giant trivia board. They make laminates for every team. Like, it's crazy. They go so crazy with it. And it's a good time. It gets super heated. It's super intense. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm excited about it.
Nice.
Well,
good luck.
Thanks. I appreciate it. But yeah, I saw your stream was blowing up. It was pretty exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, we had so I've been in my flight training right now. I'm at the soloing stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a couple more solo flights where it's just pattern work to do. So there's not really much prep I'm going to do leading up to any of those flights that I haven't done already. Then I've got a stage check with the lead instructor. which he just basically goes up with you and makes sure, that it's like a 30-minute little flight.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that stage check, then I move on to all the cross country stuff. And that's where all the planning and performance and how much the plane weighs, how much fuel you're going to burn, how much is it going to weigh when you land, all, just the planning a trip.
So at what point are you a pilot?
You have to. I have 10 hours right now total.
Okay.
I need 40.
40 total hours?
Yeah.
Flying?
Yeah.
To be a pilot.
But it's broken down. I don't know it off the top of my head, but it's like you need a minimum of like 10 hours of solo time or 10 or 8 hours of solo time. You got to have solo cross country, you got to have dual time cross country, you got to have I think it's 3 hours at night. You got to do
I would only fly at night.
it's pretty fun. I've been up one time at night.
They'd call me the night
The night
flyer.
flyer.
Yeah.
So there's like a bunch of requirements that you have to hit
My logo would be like a bat.
with a yellow background.
Yeah, the night.
And an
No,
oval.
not a yellow background, an oval. Just like a cool looking bat, like the night flyer. Because bats like
Yeah, they like the flying at the nighttime.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
maybe an owl.
Yeah. You're more owly than
I am
batty.
more owly than batty. That's true. So okay, so you're
Lots of stuff. I mean, you got to have a written test. So you have to get all the requirements as required by the FAA for the type of license you're going for. And then you have the big scary thing, which is called a check ride. And that's you have an FAA examiner who you've never flown with, never met before, go up with you. And I mean, it's like he's asking you questions. He's, like, okay, now we've got a failure and you've got to they basically, they'll plan a flight. So we're here in LA. They'll say like, hey, we're going to fly from here to Palm Springs. So you prep that flight and you show them, here's the calculations I made. Here are the weathers. Here's all the, warnings on the way out there. There's a bunch of acronyms.
Can you be like, nah, I'd rather fly to Vegas.
Yeah, you could do that too. You could do that too. If it was like, yeah, we're going to go to Vegas, it could be even further out. And you show them all of the planning you do up to that point and explain why, here's the weight and here's the weather. And then he'll go, okay, so let's go to Vegas. So you take off, and then like 10, 15 minutes into the flight, he goes, okay, you now you don't have any, your fuel pump broke. So, and it's a planned thing. I mean, you kind of, you anticipate you're not going to Vegas.
Something's going to happen.
Yeah. And then you land at your alternate airport.
Now, is it always like a malfunction like that you're kind of ready for that's in the books? Or is it like,
I think so. Yeah.
I got to shit my pants, right? And you're like, oh, I don't know what to do. Like,
yeah, I don't know if it's like environmental like that. I think it's usually something that you have to display how you would fix the problem. I think it's got to be plane related.
What if he's like, the wing fell off? Grab your chutes.
Dead.
We're getting out of here.
We're dead. Check right over. Good job.
Yeah, good job. You did it.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah. We have an email today.
Oh, crap. We got Tech Yeah Mailbag.
Tech Yeah Mailbag. If you guys want to write to the Tech Yeah Mailbag, send us an email, techyeahpodcast@gmail.com.
We have a jingle for this, don't we?
Yeah. It's
How does that jingle go?
mail.
Mailbag.
Mail.
Mailbag.
Mailbag.
Heck yeah.
I think that's how it goes.
That's exactly how it
I'm
went.
pretty sure that's what it was.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's what it was last time. So this is from Axomail. I don't know. I don't know who that is. Hey, Bill and Tony, new listener and new emailer. There's been a lot of talk about streaming becoming the future of video games. I'm not one to get political. Oh, jeez.
Oh, boy.
But considering that the U.S. government has recently repealed net neutrality, do you guys fear that we will come to a point in the future where games become exclusive to certain ISPs? Imagine you can only play Grand Theft Auto 7 only if your internet is through AT&T, and if you have something other than AT&T, well, you're screwed. Peace and love. P.S. I'm not a big fan of planes, but Bill's ability to somehow connect any topic to planes and aviation is amazing. I think it's a pain in the ass. That's personal.
Most people
editorial.
think it's a pain in the ass.
That's
so
personal
thank you.
editorial, but
Yeah,
thank you.
Forward me his or her contact information, and we can hang out.
Yeah, thank you, Axel Mail. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's a great question.
That is a great question. And do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm not as afraid of the net neutrality thing as I think a lot of people are. And I don't really have any reason to, other than I kind of understand what they're doing with eliminating it. The hope is that it will become more of a free market, and the competitive balance will iron out all of those issues. I mean, I don't think AT&T is ever going to get to a point like, I mean, they're providing a service and trying to sell customers on that service. And so is GTA, so is Rockstar in that example. So if you're Rockstar, it's just like the PS4 Xbox thing. I mean, that competitive balance worked itself out because they wanted to open them up to a bigger market.
Yeah, and like you said, like the console war, if you want to call it that, it doesn't behoove a developer to lock their product to a smaller audience, right? Really, that has to be justified by whoever's kind of gaining that exclusivity, paying for that, right? Like by offering that developer or that publisher an amount of money that tells them, yeah, you're going to sell less copies by only being here, but we're going to offset that by giving you, $500 million towards the development and whatever, right? Because it's going to be huge. Like something like that happens, right? But, in general, if you make a game or any intellectual property on the internet, it really behooves you to have that available to as many people as possible.
Right. So they're not going to sell themselves to an ISP for a fixed sum. Like I don't see how that happens economically.
Yeah, and I think, to be fair, like I kind of agree with you on kind of the overblown nature of how we view net neutrality. I feel like, and again, not to get too political like the email states, I think a lot of these touchstone moments, things like net neutrality, are kind of set in place to be a fulcrum for argument, like we all argue about net neutrality, but the reality is net neutrality was being violated while it was in place. We were already
Absolutely, good point.
We were already having issues with your phone carrier restricting bandwidth to YouTube or Spotify based on having an unlimited plan or
throttling.
Yeah, or naturally throttling it because you've streamed too much video, right? That wasn't being protected by net neutrality as much as people claim it was, right? These things were still happening, and they will still happen, right? If anything, net neutrality is not the thing we should be arguing about. It's holding to task these companies for building infrastructure that they promised us that they never did.
Yeah, it should be directed. This outrage should be directed towards the company. I'll get a little political here. I have this list of just goofy sayings down here, and one of them I didn't think would ever be applicable to this.
Oh, here we go.
Government is a disease masquerading as its cure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it's deep and it's political and whatever, but eliminating net neutrality is eliminating government from your internet. Why would you want government regulating your internet?
Yeah, I mean, I get why people think it's a good idea, right? And maybe in some ways I can see why it's a good idea, but at the same time, my issue is that it hasn't been used responsibly or used to protect us. Right? Net neutrality existed. It didn't exist for a long time. We were fine. They put it in place, and we were equally as fine and not fine with net neutrality as we were before it existed.
Nothing changed. Yeah.
Nothing changed.
Yeah.
And it's seemingly the same thing is happening now. So if we're God, this is going to get super
It's going to get really
political.
Right?
Because in the same way I feel about I'm pro universal healthcare, right? And it's kind of a similar argument I have is that, for one, we've tried all these privatized plans and failed, right? Our government has failed to regulate or create a system or to deregulate at a level that's allowed healthcare to act in a workable fashion, right? Either through like this mixed bag of privatization and regulation. I mean, our healthcare system doesn't work, right? And it hasn't worked under Obamacare. It hasn't worked under fully private. And, you know, at some level, I'm pro universal healthcare only because it's the thing we haven't tried yet.
Haven't tried it,
right?
Yeah,
and
which I don't agree with.
Yeah, and then that's,
which is the best part about our dynamic,
and that's fine, right?
Yeah.
But in the same way, with like net neutrality is like the opposite. We've tried both.
Right.
Nothing has changed.
Yeah.
Then let's just keep them out of this, right?
Yeah.
Like we're fine without.
That's kind of what I think. Like, I don't want there to be bureaucratic overhead in my internet browsing.
Well, when we've proved it didn't really matter. You know, we've seen the proof in the pudding. It didn't really change anything.
Everyone's, running around with their hair on fire, like, oh my God, no more net neutrality. You're never going to be able to use Facebook ever again. Nothing has happened.
Yeah,
and the hair on fireness has gone down.
Yeah, and no one really seems to care.
Yeah,
it's like,
fine.
Oh yeah, that was the thing
totally
we argued about.
And if AT&T takes away your GTA 7, switch.
Yeah,
and they'll bring it back or whatever.
And that's kind of the only place where I could see where I would like to see kind of regulation or proactiveness from the government with these ISPs. And that's kind of what I was saying. Like with the way infrastructure has been funded and under-delivered on, they've been allowed to kind of prohibit competition by not delivering on these infrastructure plans. Has really created a pickle for us as far as our ability to choose what ISP we want, and for like the free market to act in that space. And I think that's super negative, right? And I think that that's a failing of our government. Like the places we have given them power to leverage these things, they've completely failed to enforce, right? And that's with or without net neutrality. And I think that that's super fucking lame, right? That like when they were talking about net neutrality, like there was a story, the story was on Reddit and everywhere about like $15 billion of money we've paid to ISPs to create fiber nationwide, right? And none of it's ever been built, and it's like, where are the consequences? Like, why are these people allowed to bill us for these things, never even intend on building them? And we have no consequences and no recourse for that, right? That's illegal, and it should be, it should be being enforced, and it's not. And that's where, that's where I want the outrage, right? Like that's where I want us to be talking about it, right? Instead of these,
stop screaming at politicians in elevators that can't do anything, that are just paid mercenaries by the big companies. Go stand in front of AT&T's headquarters and yell at them.
And it's fine to yell at politicians too, or at least like vote, right? It's a good idea. It's good to vote, make your voice heard.
Yeah.
Vote for people that want these changes. The problem is, no one is asking for these changes. None of the people you're voting for are offering to change it for you.
Yeah.
They're all still saying, no, I'm pro net neutrality. And you're like, yeah, that's my guy. And it's like, why? Like, he's not trying to hold accountable these people that have stolen from us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, there is nobody trying to give you universal health care. Okay? None of the Democrats, none of the Republicans are pro universal health care. All right? Obama had a majority. They did not do universal health care. Okay? Like the solutions aren't there, right? Like,
oh boy.
I
almost went down another rabbit hole.
But you know what I mean, though.
100%, yeah.
Right?
100%, yeah. They're not doing anything.
Yeah, they're not trying to. They're just trying to stay elected.
Yeah, if you think they're trying, you're stupid.
Yeah. But
not really. You're
if
not
anyone's
that stupid. We love
if
you.
anyone's still listening and doesn't hate us by now, Andy, I think it was Andy that wrote that email. Thank you for the email.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for getting us in trouble.
Yeah, thank you for ruining this podcast.
Yeah, for ruining this podcast completely.
Stupid jerk.
Yeah, you're such a jerk.
Anyway, that was Mailbag.
Mail. Mailbag.
Tech, yeah.
That was really good.
That was good too. That was
Yeah.
a better version.
That was
the
great.
extended version.
All right, so now we're gonna get to our news stories.
News time. Tech, yeah, news time.
Not everything can be time. All right, we got to come up with like a news.
What else is going to be?
Newsapalooza.
News section.
Oh,
news section.
News section. Okay, whatever. We're gonna talk. We're getting into the news, and I think the biggest news of the week. It's Thursday. You know what that means? Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming out.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is already out.
Well, technically, it unlocks in 2 hours.
Yeah, but they're listening to it on hopefully Monday. It's already been out.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like for us
Yeah.
live, it's coming out in like 2 hours. For you listening, it is out. You've been playing all weekend.
You love it.
You love it. You're
that
blown
third
away.
mission is awesome. You
Yeah.
can't believe it's so cool.
Yeah, you took a bath. You killed a horse. You did all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, that explosion was awesome. And
Have you watched any of the gameplay yet?
Oh yeah, I watched the IGN review.
Yeah, I was watching some streams of it earlier too.
Like, of course,
Yeah,
duh.
looks amazing.
It's a 10.
I think some of the things, I will say the gameplay does look. Well, it looks very Red Dead, right? Which is a little clunky,
Sure.
in comparison.
Sure.
But I think that the open world look, like the way it looks like it manifests itself, so far exceeds kind of what we've seen in any open world game. Like that, they're definitely setting a new standard, and it looks amazing. I'm really excited to jump in.
Yeah, me too. And we talked about this when we were going over Rockstar's open world take and how they kind of they look at the little things that make suspend the disbelief of that that you're in a video game. I saw on the IGN review that if you're riding a horse, if you got a horse and you look at its balls in the desert, you can see the balls, the horse testicles.
Yeah.
If you go up into the snowy mountains, the horse testicles actually shrink.
Wow.
They've mapped the temperature ball hanging ratio on your horse in Red Dead Redemption 2. I love you, Rockstar, so much.
That's as good as it gets.
That's as good as it gets.
Okay, so I brought this up though. I mean, glowing reviews. I've actually brought this up to talk about crunch. Now, this has been like all over the gaming media news. It's been all over the place. And I'm gonna from the top of my head, so this could be completely messed up, kind of give an overview on some of the ways crunch has come up. And literally like 15 years ago was the first time the crunch debate came up, right? And it was because someone on Tumblr wrote an open letter called like EA Wives, right? Or EA Spouses. And it was, I can't even remember what game it was, but maybe it was, I don't know. But they were basically saying, as a spouse of someone that worked at EA, they were basically complaining that their relationship was very estranged leading up to the launches of games because their spouse would end up working, 60 to 100 hours a week.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Coming home at midnight, leaving as soon as they woke up.
Development crunch.
Gotcha. Right?
I'm like, what crazy weird app is this that I've never heard?
Yeah, it's the Crunch
You
app.
download Crunch on your phone and you can... That's what I thought.
Development crunch, right?
Okay.
So this has kind of been a topic of discussion since then.
Yeah.
During, I want to say it was Red Dead 1. It might have been, what was that? It's the Noir, LA Noir. They were talking about Rockstar wives, right? Rockstar spouses. I don't know why I say wives. These are spouses. This is the year 2018. But
there can be female developers, Tony.
yeah, I know. And Rockstar kind of got in trouble for kind of their environment of encouraging, salaried employees to work overtime, to stay late nights. And it kind of became like a thing where it was kind of this tribe inside of Rockstar, right? Like, you worked the OT, you didn't complain about it, and you didn't say nothing because you got to make the best games in the world. Your resume was now padded out for all eternity, and it's like the benefits outweighed what you put in, for better or worse. If I don't know if that's a fair assessment of what you got out of it or not, but that was kind of the mentality, right? And they got in trouble again. You know, it became a big social media thing. They kind of said they were going to do better. And then recently, before the launch of Red Dead 2, I want to say the guy's name is Hauser, Andrew Hauser, or something.
Yeah, one of the Hauser brothers.
The Hauser brothers, right?
Yeah.
He had an interview, and he was like,
They're pretty eccentric dudes.
They don't do a lot of interviews, but right prior to release, I think it was a couple weeks ago.
British, if that matters. Does that matter?
That doesn't really matter. Was made a mention of working a few 100-hour weeks, getting the game finished, right? And everyone lost their minds. Everyone was like, I can't believe that. Here we go again. Rockstar trying to make everyone work 100-hour weeks. And he came back out and clarified. He was talking about kind of the kind of core 4-man writing team. A few weeks out of the year they did this to kind of finalize the script. And it was high level, like, 4 high level employees that kind of served to benefit the most from the profitability of the game, and not like no employees would ever be asked to work those kinds of hours, right? After that, Rockstar said they kind of opened up their social media policy and told their employees they were open to tweet whatever they wanted and talk to the media. Most of them tweeted out kind of positive things, some saying they worked some overtime or worked some long weeks, but in general, it was fine, or it was what they thought they needed to put in. And then
it was Dan Hauser. You said Dan.
Dan, I think I said Andrew, but okay. Dan Hauser. Dan. Yeah. And then Kotaku just ran a story, basically saying the same thing, but saying that it's this environment of working a bunch of overtime, and I don't think we really need to get into the specifics, even though I've just gotten into the specifics. I think the real take is, you look at Red Dead 2, right? It's going to sell gangbusters, right? And it's a masterpiece of gaming,
It's a masterpiece of art and entertainment.
It's a masterpiece of art and entertainment. And, I guess how much development crunch is okay, like, I get it. If you're a low-level employee making $40,000 a year, right, and you're on salary and you're working, 12-hour days, right, like, that's pretty negative if you're not getting paid off, right? If you're not getting compensated for that time you're spending and really not getting a piece of that nut when that thing sells a gajillion copies. But, like, is passion enough, right? Like, it's hard because you think about like music or like sports or like other art forms, right? Or other disciplines, right? And a lot of people work their whole lives, right? Like, there's definitely something to be said that if you're a comedian or a writer, you're probably working every waking minute of your life, right? Like, you look at like Joe Rogan, that guy probably works from when he wakes up until he goes to bed.
Yeah, and Elon.
Yeah, or like Elon Musk, right? But also those are kind of the benefactors of their own kind of art, right? Where, maybe a low-level employee doesn't. So that's kind of where I put it to you, Bill. Like, what do you think do you think there's a problem? Do you think there's a solution? Do you, how do you what's your take?
There is no problem here whatsoever. I know a person in particular that's hopefully listening to this podcast right now that entire time you were explaining all of that was fuming from her ears.
Mm-hmm.
That sounded like the most ridiculous, whiny, baby millennial horseshit I've ever heard.
I'm going to love this.
Is so stupid to me that is even a story. I know they're getting paid well, and even regardless of what they're getting paid, they're doing the job. No one's forcing them to work there, and that was something that my wife Julia had to deal with a lot in her line of work. She worked in professional sports for 12 years, very long time, and it was rampant overwork and underpay
Yeah.
the entire time. And sometimes it was worse than other times. She essentially ran the 2010 All-Star game at Angel Stadium. So MLB came and they kind of take over your house, essentially. I mean, it's just like someone coming into your house. Okay, this is ours for the next 2 weeks, and like
facilitate us. This is what we're gonna do.
Yeah, like you have to leave. There, like get out of my room. Like this guy's sleeping in my bed. Like it's just ours now. It's very bizarre. But she was kind of like the lead person operationally for essentially the whole stadium, and I didn't see her for a couple of weeks. She stayed. They got a hotel room. They worked. They barely ate. They went to sleep. They woke up. They came back to the stadium, and they did that for their crunch time. I mean, I don't know how long they really define this development crunch time. It's probably a month or two, I would imagine. Like when you're getting down to like we need to start printing discs. Your hair starts to get on fire at that point. But the argument from the employer side, I see. I mean, it's not that I don't appreciate the hard work that employees put in and think that that they're underpaid for it, but this goes back to the free market thing. Is if you don't think you're being treated fairly, then leave. You don't have a right to have that job. It's not your God-given right to work for Rockstar making video games. You have to work really hard for a couple months every 5 years. I don't see what the issue is. It's a supply and demand. The demand is really high, and the demand is really high and the supply is really high. There are a line of people that would take that job, and that's what Julia always had to battle is. She would have to hire help or hire people like lower management jobs or something. And they would pay so little for these positions. They would work them so hard. And this is, Amazon does a similar thing where they just work you to the, just grind you to the ground.
I think, no lie, we work in an industry that's very similar in the way they push for hours and aren't necessarily the best at compensating people.
Right. And it's because they can. Mm-hmm. And it sucks. I don't know a way that is fair for everyone. And I hate the word fair. That makes sense. That's not screwing over somebody.
Yeah. Equity of outcome isn't really a reasonable expectation.
No.
Right.
Go do something else. If you don't like it, go do another job. Do a night. Go work at a bank. They close at 5. Like you're going to be capped with what you're able to do in your life. You're not going to have the personal fulfillment. You're not going to, Rockstar's right. Like you worked on Red Dead Redemption 2. You have, probably now a bunch of contacts, a bunch of doors have been open for you. If you're like, you know what, screw this big developer stuff. Like I've got an idea. I want to do my own game. I'm going to go do my own thing so I can make my own hours. Guess frickin' what? You're going to work even more than you did. Every minute is crunch time.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, if you want to own a house and hang out with your kids, like you can sell home loans for the bank. You know what I mean? Like there's positions that support, that kind of a lifestyle. And I don't think creative endeavors are necessarily those positions, right? I mean, I'll see even myself, right? Like even doing the stupid podcast, like if you amounted the amount of time I spend between streaming, making this podcast, and working my day job, it's all the time, Yeah. But it's because I kind of choose to interact in these endeavors.
Yeah.
Right. Like, it's crazy to think that I get up at 7 and I come into work and I stream till 11 o'clock at night. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
But it's my choice, and it's what I wanted to do.
But you're fulfilled by it.
Yeah, and I do. But I do wish there was a more fair way to do it. You know what I mean? Because I'm not afraid to say fair, but I do also agree that there's a certain amount of like you got to take personal responsibility for kind of your time and what the value of that time and how you want to kind of interact with that. Like, I'll say like at my old company, right? I worked in San Diego. San Diego is notoriously like a low paying city, right? Because it's very comfortable and it's got very accessible suburbs to live in, right? So there's kind of like low cost housing that is like very central to the city. And they like totally underpaid, right? And they were like furious when I left for a position that had like adequate wages, right? You know what I mean? Like they were just like, I can't believe this. And it's like,
it's crazy.
It's like you really can't, like, like it goes both ways, I guess is what I'm saying, right? Like, as much as employees want to be upset that, that they don't get what they feel like they deserve, I think, in the same way, owners and management also, they have their own expectations as well, right? And they get upset when they feel like those aren't met too, And a lot of times it's what was agreed to, right? Like I agreed to pay you a low wage, right? And if you don't accept that low wage, right? If you don't accept that low wage, you're an asshole too, right? Like it goes both ways.
Yeah.
And like I do wish some things like, like Rockstar, they're going to make $1 billion.
Over $1 billion.
Over $1 billion. Right. I do hope people working on that game are being compensated for the amount of work that goes into a game like that, right?
It doesn't seem like pay was really the highlight of the story, though.
I'll be honest. I feel like this story specifically, to me, felt like a real non-issue, right?
Yeah, that's what it feels like to me, too. It's just like, why are like, who's got a problem with this?
I mean, and it's funny because I feel like these kinds of stories tend to blow up in the face of the people that report them. You know what I mean? Because because I'll tell you this, I listen to a lot of like games media, right? A lot of these outlets that report on these types of stories and talk about games and releases and stream and make these videos. And every single one of them told the story, and their caveat was, well, when we started this company, we worked. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's why I was like, Julia is sitting here just like, Steam's coming out of her ears. It's not just sports and it's not just development. Like, how many people are going like, oh, you had to work 100-hour work week?
Yeah.
Holy crap. Like, who freaking cares, dude?
Yeah.
I'm a nurse. I'm a doctor in residency. I am, I sleep for 15 minutes and then, on a cot in a, like, good Lord.
Yeah, I think everyone well, I don't take quite as an offended, like outlook as you because, all those people you named, they all complain. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
Right.
And I'm not saying that you shouldn't complain or you can't complain.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that it's a story. Like, I want to work 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
Like I still would love, if I won that freaking Mega Millions thing, I would still want to work a job that I had to go to. Because I don't think my brain would function with not having to be anywhere.
Yeah, I would need a work.
I would need something that I have to go to. But I would I'd love to work for 4 hours and, take a 3-hour lunch and do whatever. And, I would love to do that. So anything above that, I'm going to complain about it.
Yeah. And I'll say, like, it's kind of crazy. Like, when you think, I don't know if you've interviewed a lot of people here.
Yeah.
But when interviewees come in and they've like, I worked 8 months at this job and it was, they didn't see the value in my work, or, I never got a promotion, or, it's like, really? Like, you think that's all it takes is like show up for 8 months and, but, yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely a lot of entitlement in the current climate, right? And I don't think that that's just young people, right? Like, I think it's...
Yeah, it skews probably a little bit young. I mean, it's the trophy. Everyone gets a trophy generation. So if anyone feels like they're being marginalized or, the victim, it's just, like...
Yeah, I think there's plenty of 40-year-olds that are claiming the marginalized card as well.
Well, the 40-year-old ones are the ones raising the jackasses.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
All the trophies.
I don't think it's just young people.
Yeah, no, definitely not. But I think a lot of it the more vocal ones are skewing a little bit younger. And I'm not saying to not complain. I just don't know why it's a story, and two, what they want. Like, what complain all you want, but you're still there. You're still working there.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, if it's that bad, I mean, I look back at all my jobs, like the jobs that were that bad, I left.
That's true.
And
I definitely have just walked out of jobs. I've been like,
just done.
Not enough money in the world.
Just this
I'm
is
outta
done.
here, yeah.
This is over. So if I don't know, just like all right, what do you want from us? What do you want from me? Why am I reading this, and why should I give a crap?
I used to work this construction job, and I worked there for like a week, and I quit the day I went to lunch, and literally everyone just started smoking meth, and I was just like, no way.
Good Lord.
No, because it's like one of those jobs where you get there at 6, you work until like 7, you earn overtime every day. Like, you make money, right? Like, because you're just working all day. And I was just like, dude, these guys, like, I don't know how they do. I was like 19, and it was like, oh, that's how.
They're on methamphetamines.
Yeah, they're all
okay.
on methamphetamines.
Yep.
Yeah, I was terrified.
Noted and goodbye.
Yeah, I just like got in my car and left, and they're like, where are you? And I'm like, everyone smokes meth. Like, I'm not coming back.
Jesus. Should have led with that story. That's
right.
Awesome.
Enough about us. Everyone's going to hate us this week.
No one's listening to this at this point.
Mm-hmm.
We could say whatever we want right now.
And I don't think
Think
we
about
should.
that.
I don't think we should.
But we could. We could say whatever we wanted, and
people listen.
Someone's going to have this on because they left it on. And they're like, oh, crap, these guys are still talking.
Give them a little bit of credit, all right? All right, what airplane news story do you have? It's going to be stupid airplanes, so tell me about it.
It's not stupid airplanes.
Tell me about your stupid airplanes.
Well, the first half has been fantastic. So I don't want to get... I had like a kind of a train of stories, almost pun intended. But our buddy Elon Musk has his...
Old boy Elon.
Yeah, his beautifully named Boring Company. So I don't know if you've heard of the story yet, but he's got a test tunnel that he's working on. No one knows what the hell it is.
I heard it's gonna grand opening.
Like it's they haven't announced the actual date, but it's imminent. Like it's December.
I saw something on Twitter. He said
December,
you can come down
November
26th or something, right?
Well, there's like he's doing a.
I gotta check my tweets here. Let me see what my boy Elon's saying.
I couldn't find. It's December, so it says that it's December 10th that he'll be offering free rides to the public, but there's an actual media event before that. But December 10th is when he's saying that he's going to be offering free public rides to it.
Yeah, let's go ride that.
I want to ride it.
Let's go ride that tunnel, bro.
So this is pretty cool. The 2-mile test tunnel underneath SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, which is adjoined to the Hawthorne Airport, Kilo Hotel Oscar Whiskey.
Yeah, opens December 10th. See?
Yeah, but that's the public one. He's actually going to be showing it before the 10th. But anyway, it's almost done. So it's a proof of concept for a underground public transportation system which aims to transport passengers and vehicles beneath congested roadways on autonomous driven electric platforms called skates. Now, none of that seems outrageous. I mean, you basically just described, the subway system. The skates will theoretically, that's kind of that's the all-encompassing word for this whole story is theoretically, and pretty much anything Elon does, will transport 8 to 16 passengers or one passenger vehicle along magnetic rails at speeds of up to 155 miles an hour.
Okay.
So, holy crap.
It's like a bullet train.
Yeah, but with just like your car sitting on it underground, like
my Honda Fit could go that
silently,
fast anyway.
It's
my Honda
crazy.
Fit so fast.
So fast. So he's like, there's been some pictures that he's shown and whatever. So he just started digging tunnels. like
Digging holes, bro.
just making tunnels out of nowhere. No, didn't really ask anyone. Didn't just like, I'm just going to start digging. I'm going to make a company. I'm a multi-billionaire. I'm just going to start making tunnels. LA is a perfect place to test this because it needs it really bad. The subway system sucks.
Well, it's not even a subway system.
Yeah, it's
just like a train.
just a train that happens to be underground.
First, yeah, barely.
For part
yeah,
of the trip.
barely.
But it's the foot traffic thing is stupid. It's not going to work in LA. I'm sorry. Like people are just. It's going to take a long ass time for people to commute in this city and region without their car on one end or the other.
Yeah,
you're not gonna. It's so sprawled out.
LA's huge.
It's gigantic. So you're not gonna have proximity to stations where people can walk there like they do in New York or Chicago.
Yeah, even right now, like I live fairly central. Like I live a block from the 10 freeway, right? Which is basically like the east-west
Main artery.
vein, artery that runs through LA and out east to like I don't even know what's way out there, the dirt, right?
Yeah.
And
the old IE.
yeah, and I'm fairly close to like Grand Central, right? Or like, but even that's a car drive away. Like I can't walk to, I can't walk to the train station.
Right. So, but even if you could, even if you drove to the train, got on the train, and then get off of it, then what do you do?
Yeah, and I can't get to work.
Yeah, you can't get to work. So I mean, some people, like I know people that buy like a little beater train car and they leave it on the other end of the train. But I mean that's expensive and annoying and not very practical. So you need a car.
And the time, if you're going to take buses and transfer and catch a train and take a bus,
it's a mess.
And transfer and catch a second bus.
Yeah, it's a freaking mess. And if any of you have, I mean, it's not, I shouldn't even, you don't even need to qualify that. You all know how bad traffic is in LA.
Yeah.
It's really bad. I lucked out. I have a 22-mile commute and I barely have any traffic.
Yeah, mine's about 20 miles. That's pretty easy.
Yeah. So, I mean, we are the outliers on that, but most people are with the traffic, and it takes them, an hour and a half to go 30 miles, 20 miles. Like
not many people live west and work east. Like that's kind of, everyone always comes from the east end to the west and then west out.
It's freaking insane. So traffic is really bad here. So in terms of like a great place to test this out, you couldn't be in a better spot. But just whatever city you're in, Houston is really bad, Chicago, Boston, the tri-state area, the Beltway, even some of these, like I've been to Raleigh-Durham area a bunch of times, and that's terrible traffic.
Even San Diego's north-south traffic, like coming from like northern, like especially inland communities like Escondido, Rancho Bernardo, into downtown to work, or into industrial areas, it's terrible. Like it's so bad.
It's just bad everywhere. Seattle is apocalyptically bad. My wife Julia, she did the train thing, and it was 50 miles, I want to say. She just happened to work at the train station. The stadium was just right there. So it was really, she drove to the train station, take the train, got off, walked into the office. Couldn't have been more convenient, but it still took an hour and a half to get into work.
So she's a big Seattle sports fan, huh?
No. We're very no.
So are you going to... We should go down there.
I want to go and check it out. I really do want to go look at what they've got.
We should try and get into Elon's hole.
But the fact that you
take it for a hot lap,
or into his bat cave. I want to see it for sure. But I love that it is. He's so smart.
He is so smart.
He's so smart, and the fact that you could drive a car onto this, and that's part of this concept, is I think what's going to make this thing maybe even work. Like it's if this is crazy enough, it just might work. Because we're heading to a point with the there was some statistic that children born right now, 50% of the jobs that they will have not been created yet.
Yeah, I believe that.
It's just the modernization. Like agriculture is going to be increasingly more automated.
Robots.
all of the jobs are going to be
Robots.
robot. Yeah, all the blue collar jobs are going to be, robotic.
Robot strippers.
Robot strippers are going to be huge money.
Yeah, robot masseuses.
So everything is going to be in the city. All your jobs are going to be in the city.
Mm-hmm.
If you're
Robot baristas.
no joke,
I'm not kidding.
not kidding at all.
Do I look like a
Starbucks
kid? Do I look like somebody with the kids?
Starbucks in 20 years is going to be a giant vending machine. You're going to walk up, you're going to order your thing, and a coffee is going to pop out, and you're going to grab it, and you're going to
I think it's going to be a Gundam.
That would be sweet.
Yeah.
Someone's got to program that Gundam, though. And
He's going to shoot lattes at people.
And that job is going to be...
This latte appears in your hand. You'd be like, what the?
This is dope.
Yeah. Be like, Phil, your latte. Phil. You'd be like, is that me? I'm not Phil. Is that my drink? Phil.
It's like, man, future Starbucks, get the name right.
He just stared at you like, Phil.
You made my latte in 3 seconds, and it's perfect, and everything's great, and this didn't cost anything, but get my freaking name right.
Phil, this is your latte. Come take your latte. I'm sorry, robot. It's Bill. It's Bill. Oh, just take your drink. Just take your drink.
Take your drink, you lanky son of a bitch, and get out of my vending machine store.
Get out. Please exit.
Please leave.
Sorry.
Anyway, back on track. All of the jobs are going to increasingly be in the city center.
Yeah.
And it's going to make traffic even worse. People are still going to want their freedom. They're not going to want to, do the subway or the bus thing. So commuting, the future of commuting is going to have to evolve because we don't have the infrastructure to support the increasing mass flow of people into the same location.
Well, I mean, we have to get off our asses and try things.
Yeah.
That's my biggest, there's just such analysis paralysis, right? People just oh, well, that's not going to work because, and that's not going to work because, it's like, let's just try some things. I don't really care
but it's human nature. I don't really fault the people for saying that, but it takes a guy like Elon Musk to go, no, I'm trying this. It took a guy like,
George Washington.
It's not always about George Washington.
It took a guy like George Washington.
It takes a guy like George Washington. That idea will never work. It'll take a guy like Carl Benz, the car, people thought that was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you going to tie it up?
The Buddha.
What did Buddha invent?
Meditation.
Oh.
Enlightenment. Duh.
I have a Buddha thing, actually.
Oh, God.
Can I tell you this? It's the Dalai Lama. If we're gonna go tangent,
the Dalai Lama's not the Buddha.
Well, but it's kind of like enlightenment and everything.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so the Dalai Lama walks up to a hot dog vendor in New York. And the Dalai Lama says, I'll have a hot dog. The vendor says, okay, what do you want on it? The Lama says, make me one with everything. So the vendor, it's joke number one. So the vendor says, that'll be $6. Lama gives him a 10. The vendor says, next. So the Lama's like, hey man, where's my change? So the vendor says, change comes from within. Come on.
That's really good.
Come on.
That's a very enlightened hot dog vendor.
All right. So anyway, back
trying to rip people off.
Yeah, but Elon Musk is facing exactly what Carl Benz, the Wright brothers, any of these inventors that were crazy in their day.
Charlemagne.
What historical figure glossary are you pulling these from?
Top of my head, bro.
But they, it's all these, they happen with the train. You're going from horse-drawn carriages to trains, that'll never work, and then cars, that'll never work, and how is it going to function without having rails?
Yeah.
You can just go anywhere. So all
Hot
of these,
Pockets.
Yeah, Hot Pockets was huge.
Mm-hmm. How are you going to heat the middles?
How are you going to heat the middle of this freaking pizza?
Aluminum sleeve.
Yeah, this is a pizza that's curled in on itself. This is madness.
It's madness.
It's madness.
I'm going to put it in this little metal sleeve.
Yeah.
Boom. Middle's nuclear.
So the Elon is just like, I don't care. I'm going to do it. I'm going to self-fund it. You're all going to think I'm nuts. And, however long it takes for this to, happen, if it does, we're going to look back like, hey, remember when we didn't have those crazy tubes under the city?
Yeah, like Ponce de Leon.
Yeah. Well, remember when we didn't commute to work at 150 miles an hour and get there in 10 minutes? And
I don't remember.
I don't remember it either. That must have been terrible.
No, it sounds like a dark time.
Yeah, those were terrible times. So
is that when we had answering machines? It seems like that's when
it seems like it was back then. Yeah, and you had to like hit the side of your TV in order to see it.
Yeah. It does sound dope. Like even just thinking like you could just pop down, be in Santa Monica and a GIF.
Yeah, what the hell? Of course.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm in on all. I want the Hyperloop. I want to get to San Francisco.
I want some Hyperloop too.
I want to be in San Francisco right now.
Yeah, I do want me some Hyperloop.
I want to get off work and meet my friend in San Francisco for dinner.
But even if the Hyperloop never happens, even if this crazy tube thing never happens, something has to happen.
Put me in a tube and shoot me to San Francisco. Boom. I want it to make the noise.
Yeah. Boom. Yeah. Just like the little tube from the bank. You like
next, Tommy. Tommy. Is that me?
Yeah.
Is that me?
I think that's your
Tommy Hyperloop ready?
Your unicorn frappuccino's ready, Tony.
Okay, Tommy, enter the Hyperloop, please. I'm not Tommy though.
Listen, Starbucks baristas, when you ask for somebody's name, confirm their name.
Or just don't ask.
Or don't ask.
Just say, I'm the only quad shot espresso in a venti cup that's coming out right now. All right.
If someone says, I want a vanilla latte, get that guy's name.
Yeah.
Get that girl's name. And if she says, say, excuse me, could you repeat that? You don't have to spell it. It doesn't have to be, it was Christina with a K. Who cares? But at least don't make it Catherine when it was, Christina.
You know what I would do? I'd give them code names.
You get a name.
I give you a
barista.
Name.
You give the names.
Yeah. You come up, order a drink.
Let me have a grande cappuccino.
Hey, that'll be out for you in just a minute, Ace.
Love it. I love it. That I was like Ace, Champ, Sport, Buddy. Mm-hmm. And you just have a list, and you just go through
the list. And you got a little card.
You got a little card. You got a little. It could just be like
on your receipt says Ace.
Yeah, but you got like a little like name generator thing on the side of the register, and it's like, okay, Buddy. All right, Buddy, your double shot espresso is coming right up.
Coming right up, boss.
Yeah, dude. Erase this part of the podcast. We need to TM this. And
no, this is intellectual property. Podcasts count.
Okay, so we're safe.
We own this idea.
No one's going to take this idea
because we are publishing this idea.
Okay, I'll get Schultz on the line. We'll pitch it. And then we'll never do this again because we'll be millionaires.
We should still make the podcast.
Let's still do the podcast.
Yeah, we still do the podcast.
Okay.
We'll
be back.
We'll definitely have a soundboard.
Yeah, it's gonna.
If we're multimillionaires,
we could, and at that point we can really say whatever we want.
We could, yeah.
That's gonna be really fun.
I might just crash a Ferrari.
Let's just every show we crash a different Ferrari.
Oh.
Like, what Ferrari are we going to crash this week? You're like, I got a 95 355. Let's run it into a brick wall.
Yeah, we'll just do different destructive things that destroy the car.
That's different car, though, every time.
Different car every time.
Yeah, different car every time. Okay. Yeah, how are we going to destroy the Ferrari this week, Tony? Well, Bill, we're going to drive it into a swimming pool. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, swimming pool, lava. We're driving into lava.
That would be kind of fun.
I want to see what happens.
I want to see what happens, too.
Yeah, we're driving into lava. Will you put it in the ocean and put like squid inside of it and use it as a lure to catch a whale?
Can I tow one with my airplane that I'll have?
Yeah, why? I mean, sure.
Okay, cool. We'll do
what
that.
Size airplane you can have?
It's going to be a big one.
Like an A380?
If we're selling an idea to Starbucks, it's going to be a big one. I could have a private A380.
Yeah, that'd be pretty dope. Like John Travolta.
He's got a 707.
That sounds small.
Well, it's not an A380. I think the Sultan of Brunei has an A380. There's one private A380. If you guys don't know what an Airbus A380 is, look that shit up. It's insane.
Yeah, it's Lux. I don't understand how John Travolta has all these airplanes. Like, I know he made a lot of money in movies, but like, he got a bunch of airplanes. Like, that's expensive, right? He's not like chartering those flights.
No, he owns the airplanes.
Yeah, but you still got to have a place for. You got to dock them or whatever. What do you call it?
There was a house.
What do you call it? You don't dock it. You don't dry dock it.
Tie it down.
No, like where you rent your hangar and
put it in the hangar. Yeah,
and then you got to have mechanics come out there and fiddle with all the who's what's it's and keep the oil in it, right? You know, like someone's got to take it for a walk every couple days, start the engines.
All right, let's do a little celebrity net worth. And now this week's episode.
That's the end of our boring company story. We're gonna go check it out. We'll give you guys an update.
Yeah. John Travolta's net worth is $170 million.
So he's got okay money.
He's got okay money. It puts some of the stuff in perspective. Every time I do that, like check the net worth of someone that you think has just more money than you could, like, oh my God, no one has more money than, like, John Travolta's a household name. You would think that dude is just like pushing $1 billion, but, and according, again, this is the internet. This is celebritynetworth.com. $170 million. So if you won that Powerball jackpot, you would have taken home like 4 to 5 times more than John Travolta has. Mm-hmm. That's pretty crazy. But yeah, I mean, airplanes of that magnitude are insanely expensive. So there's a jet that I have a video that I started on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Bill4LE. I have a video on how to start the APU of this jet. And it's a mid-sized jet. So it's not the biggest. It is the fastest. It's the fastest corporate jet on sale.
How fast is it?
Mach 0.92.
Why can't we do a Mach 1?
Because it's a whole... That's like, a car that goes 200 miles an hour. Like, to go from 190 to 200, like, you have to have certifications. It's a whole...
And I want to punch through the sound barrier.
It's a whole mess.
I want to... It's got the smoke, the ring
Cessna
around it.
Actually...
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You go, poof, and it's like...
Yep. Cessna did actually accidentally break the sound barrier in testing, but it's
like a turbo on it.
It's a mid-size. It's got 2 Rolls-Royce engines in it.
Could put NOS in it.
You could put NOS in it. Underglow. Get some spinners on it. But it's mid-sized jet. It's not the most expensive one. It's $25 million.
Mm-hmm.
And it costs $100,000 per year to run.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Travolta's got to be burning a lot of cash just having these airplanes around.
Yeah, if he still has that 707 and is still like flying it, it would cost. I have no idea.
$1 trillion.
I know it doesn't cost $1 trillion, but for a mid-sized jet to cost $100,000 in just scheduled maintenance per month, $100,000 per month scheduled. So if anything goes wrong, it's even more than that. A 707 has to be $1 million a month.
If you like hit somebody in Starbucks
$500,000 per month.
Yeah,
I have no idea. You would
like Battlefield Earth sucked, right? So that
terrible.
cost them money.
It cost them a lot of money,
right?
Yeah.
So it's like that plus the 707. I think he's got more planes than that too. I think he has other planes. So you got to think, like, he's got to be burning this money. This is the true mystery of Scientology. How does John Travolta afford this airplane?
I don't know.
All right. Let's wrap this up, Bill. I think we've said way too much today.
We said a lot. We got probably into a lot of trouble.
Yeah, we've probably got into a lot of trouble today.
What did you even talk about?
You more than me.
What did I say?
You said millennials are shit.
Yeah.
You said you deserve everything you get in this world.
Rockstar employees should stop whining.
You said Rockstar employees should stop whining.
Net neutrality is stupid.
Yeah, you said net neutrality is stupid.
If we don't get emails, I'll be disappointed.
Okay, so email us at techyeahpodcast@gmail.com. techyeahpodcast@gmail.com. Bill, where can our friends out here find you?
Twitch.tv/BILL4LE and YouTube.com/BILL4LE.
I kind of feel weird. I always ask myself the question. I'm like, and Tony, we're gonna
Tony, where could the fine folks find you?
Sorry, that's so rude.
Is this one gone long?
Not really. But it's supposed to be a happy hour. Yeah, we're only at We're an hour and 5 minutes.
Okay.
So, a little long.
A little bit long.
You can find me at ToneFaceKiller at Twitter and Twitch. ToneFaceKillah. I'm going to do that again because I messed it up. ToneFaceKillah.
I mean, if they get toned face, it'll autofill.
Yeah, the Killa part has got an H at the end.
Yeah.
I think people expect it to be an A, but I did it like Ghostface Killa, and he's got an H at the end.
Right, yeah. Just it'll autofill. You'll see it. You'll know it when you see it. Type in tone face kill, and you'll find them.
Yeah, my Twitch is pink and beautiful. You'll love it.
It is really nice. It's very neon.
It's very neon. And that's our show for today.
Yeah, we won't charge you guys for the extra.
Yeah, for the extra.
That was the bonus bit was on us. That one's on us.
Yeah, we're
actually, before we sign off, what we didn't say in the beginning, which is where this is probably smarter to put because who the hell knows how many people have dropped off at this point. But if you do enjoy this cluster of a podcast, share it with a friend.
Maybe share the last episode, not this episode.
Yeah. Share your favorite episode.
Mm-hmm.
Share the episode that you determine would be the favorite episode of your friend that you're sharing it with.
Mm-hmm. Speak.
And send the link over. If they don't know what a podcast is, explain that to them first and show them how to download the podcast app on their given device.
You know what? Send it to your dad. Because he probably thinks millennials suck too.
Probably.
So he'll probably listen to this episode and be like, "These
I
young
like that, Bill guys.
Yeah,
Speaking some sense.
These young men really get it. I don't like what that Mexican said about universal health care, but the rest of it was pretty spot on.
The rest of it was pretty good. I really liked the Dalai Lama story. The Dalai Lama story was pretty funny.
I told that Dalai Lama joke at work. I did kill.
It killed. I love it. Big hitter, the Lama.
All right, that's it. I'm tired of this. Thank you guys. I love you.
Love you too, guys.
Bye.